Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here, Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning, everyone. Happy
Hello.
Wednesday.
Greetings from Clearwater, Florida.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm Jim Rhodes, by the way. We don't say who we are. I guess the intro tells folks.
Michelle
And Jim
and
with
Jim
the Octane Group.
with the Octane Group. And
we got a big subject for you today. Grab a seat.
We really, really do. Gosh, it's kind of dangerous sometimes. You just don't know what's going to come out of left field with us. And, it's like, oh, something, guys. Yeah.
This one we had considerable clarity around.
We really, really did. Those of you who listen frequently know that we take a lot of time frequently to just spend some time brainstorming, thinking, getting more and more clear about all of the things that we have that we're creating. And because, Jim and I, we like to create stuff, but we've been really, really clear and more just get more and more focused and clear about what it is that we want.
Yeah. And where we belong.
And last night was just like, okay, are you ready? Let's do this. Let's absolutely do this. This is exciting.
Yeah. So I think, to us, it feels like a big deal because we have taken some calculated risks, I guess, in recent months and presentations and that sort of thing, and starting to step in to talk more about what Michelle and I refer to as the squiggly lines in business. And, I sometimes substitute the phrasing for the warm and fuzzies. Like, there's just part of this business that are just kind of, it's not black and white. Like we're consultants and advisors, and people bring us in to help them with their buy here, pay here business. And they start asking questions, and we find ourselves answering questions with questions and asking dealers to think about parts of their life and their circumstances that aren't black and white.
And I so many times, especially when we do a discovery visit, because like what we'll do is, someone is like, hey, I need some help. It's the whole consulting thing. I need some help. Can you come out and talk to us? See what it is that we can do. What can we do to help? We've had even some that say we do this about every year or so, or a couple of years, and have someone come in and take a look at the business and see where we can tune up and all of that. And so we'll sit down with them the first day, and we start asking them questions that they're like, at the very, very beginning, we're getting all the deets, all the details. What are your softwares? What and we get all of this stuff that we know that they're, that they really are waiting for us to ask. And it's to kind of get a better understanding about what it is we're doing. And then the next question floors them.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so, well, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, I want to sell more cars. No. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And well, I want to be able to I want to be able to grow my team, or it's like, no, what do you want? If you were to jump forward 5 years from today, how would your life be different than it is today?
Yeah.
And they look at you like, crap, no one's ever asked me that.
Right.
And
I get to think about that. Like that matters.
Yeah. And it's impactful for a lot of people because they've, they really don't take the time, especially in buy here, pay here. We're so busy and we're so in the grind and we're so doing the stuff. And, we've, through the course of this podcast, we've like, okay, so guys, here's some ways to be able to take back some of your time to work on your business instead of in your business. And this is like with any of our clients, before we really get going, this is the question we ask them. Yeah. It's like, what do you want?
Yep.
And they'll like, well, I want to sell more cars. No.
And Yeah, and this is not a new subject. I think since Michelle, joined me in the company, now approaching 2 years ago, we have kind of leaned more into this. It's kind of natural for she and I to kind of dig into some of the softer sides of things and really dig into take on the big picture
Mhm.
things, and really that's what she and I do together. And I was thinking, Michelle, yesterday that if you just think through the most recent clients we worked through, just one after another, we have seen a light bulb go on with them where we start going into this thing about, you mean it's okay for me to step off the hamster wheel and breathe for a minute and think about what's
Mhm.
really good for me and not my business. And I've started to ask at our TIADA conference presentation was the first time I asked the audience, do you own your business or does your business own you? And those are the examples of the kind of
Mhm.
questions that I find myself asking more often. And so this is outside to traditional buy here, pay here consulting.
Mhm.
And listen, I was there. I was the same guy who, you fly in for a couple days and you do the best you can to help people kind of figure out where they can fix some stuff. But those were typically straight lines kind of
And,
engagements.
don't get us wrong, listener land.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah, we do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
It's not utilizing our full
it's not
strength.
utilizing our full strengths, and we love being able to those of you guys that know me, I love getting in there and solving a problem and
Mhm.
figuring out the best systems and the best practices and the best, how can we systematize this? How can we make it easier? I love that stuff.
Yeah, and add to that, I'm always have been in this place where I want to solve problems in the most permanent way possible. I don't,
Mhm.
you know me, lately we've been using the phrasing about let's don't be having this same conversation around the same problem, you know, 6 weeks, 3 months out down the line, however
Mhm.
long that is a reasonable timeline. It's like let's put it to bed. Let's don't use a band-aid here. Let's find a more permanent
Mhm.
solution and let's really fix this thing. But in order to fix it, if you come to me with a problem and I'm asked to try to help you solve the problem, then I'm going to ask you, okay, what's the best possible outcome like for you? So we can get in
That's a
here and fix
permanent
this
fix.
thing.
That's how
Yeah.
you create a permanent
And that's how you
fix.
make these things more
Yeah.
lasting, which is also something we touched on in our presentation in TIADA. And we'll be doing it again in Florida soon. But it's like you you have to really ask yourself when it comes to writing your business plan, for example, that was the subject matter of our presentation in Texas, is when you're writing your business plan, how do you go about creating that business plan? Well, where do you want your business to go? Like, where do you want to be in relation to your business, so that we can create a plan around a vision that's going to put you where you want to be. You, not your business. Like you got to
Mhm.
learn to separate yourself from your business. And Michelle and I are kind of getting comfortable with, or we're helping our dealers get comfortable with. I guess we've been
Uh,
comfortable, but this like helping our dealers get comfortable with this idea of having these conversations and
mhm.
talking about, where do I really want to go with this business? Where do I want to be? Do I want to still be on this hamster wheel working 50 plus hours a week? Do I do it because I love it, or do I do it because I feel like I have to? And
Yeah.
is it okay to talk about doing something
Yeah.
else? Or
So, part of what we discussed last night, is, there's we really do in our world of coaching, and we talked about consulting, and there's a difference to us between consulting and coaching. And we can do both. The
Mhm,
consulting is you come in, you see the stuff that needs to be wrong, here's your list, and you go away.
mhm,
The coaching is we meet you where you are.
mhm,
We teach you what you need to learn,
mhm.
and we stay with you until it's done.
Yeah. So when you say that middle part, I would say we teach you how to solve the problems yourself. Like we take you through, okay, here's the problem that we've identified. And as a team, this is how we're going to go about,
Mhm.
dispensing of the problem in the most permanent way. And we're going to teach you how to do that. So when the next thing comes up that you choose to tackle, you would know how to do that. And that way you don't need us. You want us to stay until we teach you how to deal with whatever's next,
Mhm.
whatever you choose, identify as an initiative or, a target in your business. We teach you how to deal with that, how
Yeah.
to put it to bed. And so that's what we kind of feel like is a really important thing in coaching. And we just know that that's where we need to be, because like I say, we like to see problems solved. We like to stay until the problem is really solved. It's a little like, I use the analogy once upon a time about how, Michelle and I are both kind of like these mechanics who, they work their weekends on this car because it's been kind of a frustrating thing, and it's their cure, and they want to, and so there's that satisfaction of seeing it run right. Once you, like the mechanic who works on this motor and finally gets it running right, and now it's tuned up right, and so there's a lot of satisfaction in that.
Well, there's even more satisfaction with getting in the car and having it take you where you want to go now.
Yeah. So that's the other piece of that. Like Michelle and I can help build a car. We can
Yeah.
help you build a car, and we can even put you in the driver's seat. But you
where
got
do
to
you want to
know
go?
where you want to go.
That's what we love.
Right.
That's the, we can help you build the car and tune it up and all of that, but we love, all right, where do you want to go? What do you want your life to look like?
Sure.
What do you want?
Sure.
And that can be, it's a beautiful thing to, this melding as we're talking about this is like, this is, your family life, your relationship life, your personal life, your private times, my me time life. What do I want? My business life. What do I want? My business social life, like how do you want all of this to look for you? And
there's things more recently have come up with us, and things like partnerships. Sometimes these partnerships in a business, sometimes it's a relationship between, maybe it's a husband and wife. Maybe it's, brothers running a business. We see a fair amount of that.
We see a lot of sibling stuff. Yeah.
Maybe we're just talking about a relationship between a dealer and their investor. Sometimes there are things like this that we're okay with getting involved in that.
And
are we trained, life coaches? We're highly experienced individuals who are, we basically arrive as mediators and problem solvers. And we are able to identify the problem. And sometimes those problems lie in the gray space, like in the squiggly lines between black and white.
The things that connect all the straight lines. It's like what do you want? How do you want to, how do you want your partner to communicate with you? How do you want your customer to see you? How do you, all of those kind of things.
Yeah. And every time this comes up, I feel like it takes me back to this thing about, and it's loosely related, but bear with me, like this idea of execution is everything. You have heard me push back on that some, where, there's this expression out there, people say, you'll see it in LinkedIn and other business environments, where they say execution is everything. And I push back on that, and have for years. I say, I don't think that's fair, because I don't think that gives enough credit to the creator, the innovator, whoever is the one with the vision. Okay. So because to me, execution without that clarity of vision is just movement. It's just activity.
So as a business owner, you really do have a responsibility to be very clear about, and be very, very clear about what that vision is.
Sure.
And then it's about delegating to the rest of your teams for the execution part, and that but it's important to be very, very clear, and that your team understands that clarity, and that your team understands where you're going.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of talk out there around, businesses having a purpose and a why, like what's your, and I grow a little tired of the phrasing, like is this whole thing about, you got to have a why, what's your purpose? Well, we think that is important. And it's part of this vision piece that we talk about. And it's part of how, and like in our presentation in Texas around business planning, it's like, we feel like this is how you create a business plan that is sustainable, that you can complete. When you get everybody bought into whatever it is that's foundational, like what is the core? Let's get down to the core of what's driving us to do what we do every day. Then now our ability to stick to that, and for all of us to execute on that together, is much, much greater when we're all bought into that. And so this is where leadership comes in. This is where, as a dealer, and this is why we just don't hear a lot of talk about this in this industry. Like there's there's talk about leadership in business, and you can find that stuff. It's just that we don't talk enough about it in buy here, pay here. And I think we have the added problem in buy here, pay here of we have a lot of departments in our business. We have a lot of moving pieces in buy here, pay here, sales, underwriting, collections, all the different stuff, inventory, maybe a service department. Like there's just a lot of different balls in the air at any given time. So that means it's even more important for us to have tremendous clarity. And it's challenging for dealers that find themselves on this hamster wheel, as we talked about, a few months ago. It's like when you're on that hamster wheel, it's sometimes difficult to take a moment and, whatever that looks like for you, a long drive, whether it's a little meditation time or time on a treadmill or whatever that looks like, wherever you can find some peace and quiet and some clarity and get real clear about your vision. And so this is where Michelle and I have been asking the questions, and we've been taking dealers there, and the response has been tremendous. Like people respond to it.
It's been really interesting to hear oh wow, this is different. This is more than what I thought I would, and in a very, very positive way.
Yeah.
And it's and what I've seen, and I'm going to get a little real with you for a second.
Of course.
I'm not buy here, pay here.
Right.
And I'm just, I have corporate America, all of that kind of stuff. And I see a lot of really, a lot of business people that are trying really hard to run an effective business, a compliant business, a business that's paying the paychecks.
Sure.
It's paying, or it's paying the bills. That we don't have customers screaming at us. That we're keeping all the stuff. Just everything is just the intent is just to keep all of these straight lines just really in a level place. And what I see more and more as we talk to these dealers, and like I said, I'm new to the space, is that so few of you take the time to really think about you and your family and your life.
Sure.
And what it is that how your business and your family can be a really beautiful complement to each other.
Yeah.
And just to watch the reaction as we kind of go into these types of conversations with different dealers, that it's almost like for a second there, it's a do not compute, and then a light goes off. And it's like, oh, wait a second here. And
that could make sense for me.
And that is actually like a light at the end of the tunnel for whatever it is that is challenging them. Whatever problem that needs to be solved, whatever system that needs to be created, whatever, planning for the future, whatever it is, solve a problem, create a system, plan a future. Whatever that problem is that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, not just in the straight lines and how we're going to do it, but it's like, oh, this is something that could be much bigger than this.
Yeah. And there's also the piece that's outside the business, like think about you and your family and where you want to go. And I've said for years, like I've talked about in a startup situation where we're meeting a dealer who's getting into buy here, pay here for the first time. I often have a lot of questions for them. And I've said, and probably even shared in articles in the past, about how I think those conversations that I have with dealers early on is much like what you would have. Suppose you're a young couple and you're meeting with a retirement planner, right? And so this retirement planner is going to have a lot of questions for you about what you want your life to look like in the future. What are we thinking about kids and college? And there's a lot of things to think about. And we have the good fortune in buy here, pay here. We can create damn near anything we want. Like we just really have the ability.
I love it.
We can create, there's so many different scenarios and ways to go and buy here, pay here. We just have the flexibility to create, almost any kind of business model, whether we want to focus on cash flow or equity, we can get there. And so there's that. You think about that at the start of your business. Think about that before we start making all these decisions. Because, I've always used the example about dealers will ask me, well, where should I set my interest rate? Well, how do you want to be known in your community,
that's
right? It's like,
yeah, that's the beautiful thing that I really have loved about this, being
Yeah.
the newbie, is that you have the opportunity to create this beautiful business, but you
Mhm.
also have an opportunity to really impact your customer and your community. You
Yeah.
have you have an opportunity to do that like most other businesses can't.
Yeah. So I just, as you know, I just repurposed an article that I dug out from 2014.
Uh-huh.
So 2014, I was also writing already at that time about this idea of head and heart. Okay. So
Mhm.
it's like when you think
Squiggly
about,
lines, straight
yeah,
lines.
it's squiggly lines. And so today we're thinking squiggly lines. And I think one of the things that I also see out there, and this is not meant to be an indictment of anybody, we all kind of get busy in our business, and we're out there focusing on our bottom line and focusing using our head,
Mhm.
and we're kind of neglecting our heart in this business. And so the reason that matters for me is because we talked about it, how it means for the dealer and the family and outside the business, but inside the business with all of our people, the heart piece matters because it's how do we connect with our community, with our customers, anybody that we meet on any given day. Do we see them, connect with them, hear them?
Can I bring that back just a little bit
Yeah.
more? How do you connect with your team?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How do you connect with your team? I
Mhm.
mean, are you fostering that? Is
Mhm.
that something that's really important to you, that you are connecting to your team and that your team understands the bigger picture?
Right. I love the thing. We'll try to find it and share it in the comments. I love the thing from Gary Vee where he's got somebody in the audience that says, "I'm having lots of turnover. I got to hire people and I have to fire them and
So,
I hire them." Because
what was it that he asked? He
with
says, I don't know if I have a problem or if,
is the
and
problem
Gary
me?
Vee yelled over top of, yeah, the problem is you.
Yeah, yeah.
The-
And again, not meant to be an indictment. It's just that we
Uh-huh.
we kind of lose sight of the fact that there's some stuff we got to fix. There's some stuff
Mhm.
we got to work on. And so again, there's a lot of straight line stuff that Michelle and I deal with, and
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 we're
and we
good at
answer
it.
those things. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
and
know the
enjoy that.
answers. It's just that going back to something as simple as you're a new dealer and you ask, where should I set my interest rate? Well,
Well,
it's possibly profitable at 19.9%. It's
yeah,
possible
you
to be
could go max
profitable.
rate.
You go max
You can
rate,
go
make
max
that work.
rate. Those are straight lines. Those
Yeah,
straight line decisions, but the curvy lines are the things that surround it.
yeah,
It's like, okay,
yeah,
before you set your interest rate, how do you want to be known to your customer?
yeah,
Will it make a difference to be max rate or 19%? So
yeah,
let's just ask that question. Will it make a difference? If the answer is no, then set the interest rate anywhere you want to. If the answer is yes, then let's consider that.
yeah. And I think we just picked this as one example that you can go through question after question after question
After
about how
question,
do I make
your
that
your
decision in
your
my
collection
business.
policies, your whatever.
And really what I'm suggesting is if you I can help you better make that decision for yourself, and the decisions that you're going to make next month, the next year, when I may not be available to you, whatever. Is like the best way I can tell you to make those decisions is to involve the heart for your community and your
Mhm.
customers in making those decisions. And so it came up in a Facebook thread recently of this conversation, and I'll credit Tyler Simmons out in West Texas. He's the one who chimed in and used the word empathy in a conversation around collections. And I thought, I don't hear anybody else use the word empathy. So I chimed in and said, thanks, Tyler. Like nobody else uses the word empathy in collections that I hear. And so this is an example of, you can be heartless, and you can write a policies and procedures booklet, and you can stick to that policies and procedures booklet and ignore the heart piece. And can you still be profitable?
Yeah.
Probably. Is your business as easy to sustain? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say your business becomes more sustainable. It's more likely to live a long and healthy life and be highly regarded in your community and valued by your customers. And you got referral business and repeat business, and that's where the heart comes in.
We notice, and this is where the white hat way, because this heart piece is very much so the white hat way. And we have a few of our dealer friends that it's like they got this. They got this from the start.
Yeah,
We some of our colleagues, people that we know and really appreciate, that they they don't really, most of their business is repeat or referral.
Yeah.
Because they've really figured out how to show their community and their customers that they care and that we're here with you.
Right.
And we're on the same side of the table.
Sure.
And they're bringing the empathy and they're bringing the squiggly lines. And they still have the straight lines. It's like one of the things that I love, Tommy Brandis, sorry, Tommy, I'm calling you out, is that, his repo vernacular is, why'd you make me bring the car back? Why'd you make me do that? That just totally takes it on such a heart level. It's like, why did you do that? What could we have done differently? How could we have worked together?
This wasn't the outcome I was looking for.
This is not the outcome that I was looking for.
Right.
And I just, I really, there are some dealers out there that have really, without having the names associated with, they really get this head and heart piece. They get this white hat way piece. They get this straight lines and squiggly lines piece. And what Jim and I really, what we just so enjoy is stepping in with people that have asked us to take a look or to help them and help them get that.
Sure.
Help them get there where they're running a really good, it's a tight business.
Right.
But they are so crystal clear about how they're going to be known in their community, about how they're going to be known by their customer, about how they're going to be known by their employees,
right.
And that's like an important piece in the balance of decisions that they make.
Yeah. And I also think, even back from before I was in the car business in the 90s, and, I got in the pawn shop and sporting goods business in the late 80s. And I just remember, even as a young entrepreneur with a little bit of college and some business courses, but mostly I'm coming at it through the eyes of a consumer. And I'm just looking at business and I'm thinking, it's about messaging. So it becomes about storytelling. How can I tell my story in my community? So if we want to take this to marketing for just a moment, it's like, how do I tell my story? Well, the best stories are real. They're the most, you read a book, if it sounds real and you can connect to it, then you're going to stay with it. So I think for me, the part that I would say from a marketing standpoint and what we're talking about here is that when we can get real about who we are, when we can create a vision that permeates our entire operation, and it's a true story, like we're out just telling a story and it's true. It's not that we're grandstanding and we're saying, hey, take a photo of this check we wrote to a local charity. Like, that's cool. You wrote a check, but can you show me instead an example where you were out in the community actually, so you see where I'm coming from?
Well, that, and I was just thinking to myself, okay, so, you dealers out there in listener land, we love our community. We love we love our customers. We really want to help them succeed. We want to make sure that they are getting the support that they need, all of that. Okay, so let's look at your marketing. Does your marketing explicitly communicate that to them?
Yeah.
Or is it car centric?
Yeah.
Is it we want to help? And that's that, so that you can, like, being transparent. It's like, do they know that this is who we are and what we want?
Right. And man, I would just say, and we see this in marketing. Let's take it outside of buy here, pay here for a minute. So it doesn't feel like it's an attack on our buy here, pay here clients and listeners. If you take it outside of buy here, pay, none of what we're talking about is meant to be an indictment. It's more like an opportunity to recognize when we bring this heart piece, then we get a chance to tell an authentic story. And now we have a chance to connect with our community in a different way. And now it really changes, how really how many leads we get and how successful we are with those leads, all those kind of things.
Referrals, repeats, all of that.
I'm just saying, when you take it outside buy here, pay, and you watch these people that are out there doing these businesses that are out there, promoting themselves as being, a family operation or whatever, I would just ask, can we think about that in terms of being, just think about the word disingenuous. I mean, if you watch a campaign from somebody and it looks disingenuous, it doesn't it looks like it's grandstanding. It looks like it's fake. It's meant to sound like we're good people, but
Uh-huh.
we're talking about ourselves as being good people, but we're not showing. We're not
Or
showing.
there's something about like, I really think that this is who you are,
Yeah.
because that's where you're showing more than what you're
It's
showing.
superficial.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like,
Yeah.
we got to be prepared to take people inside who we really are,
Mhm.
and I
And
hope that
how
who we
you want
really
to
are.
be known.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll say something else. Like I remember also in San Antonio last year, the first time I really posed the question in, a public sort of environment like that. I've done it with clients, but you ask the question, look, you don't need to raise your hands, but I want you to answer for yourself as you sit in this classroom. Do you genuinely care about your customers? Just and so my listeners today are dealers. You don't have to answer for me. Throw it in the comments. Just answer for yourself. Do you truly care about the success of your customer?
I'm going to say most
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 do.
of the dealers are going to say yes.
Yeah.
Then the next question is, does your customer know that?
Right. Can they see that?
Can they see that? Is that what you're communicating with them in how you interact with them daily, with your customer or with your collections department? How you're communicating with them through social media, all
Right.
of those things.
And I'm talking about something much more than language in a newsletter. I'm talking about, what do they see? Like, what do you
Mhm.
show them
Mhm.
that's authentic, that they can see who you are and that you genuinely care about them and their customers. And for those who didn't hear it, I would just go back and listen to our episodes with Tommy Brandis.
Mhm.
We talk about that. Tommy and I talk about that, good amount. It's like that. What do you show? Like, if so, I remember posing the question of our panelist at NABD last year. It's like, what are the how would I know if I'm your customer? How would I know that you value my business? So we had each of them kind of explain that of what. So these are among the things I would ask dealers to think about is, what do I see? Like, what do
Mhm.
I know that can help me see that you truly care about me and my business, and you have some degree of empathy for me and
Mhm.
my situation. So these are the things that we want to talk about. This is why we wanted to bring forward, in a really clear way, what Michelle and I mean when we refer to squiggly lines.
Yeah,
That's what we're
you're going to
talking
hear
about.
that a lot from us.
Yeah,
Squiggly lines.
yeah,
Squiggly lines are the non-tangibles.
yeah,
They are the heart
yeah,
piece
yeah.
to buy here, pay here.
Some would call it warm and fuzzy.
And Jim loves the warm and fuzzy.
Right.
So we're going to, our promise to you, and this is why this episode it's our promise to you is that we are stepping forward
Hmm.
in a very unapologetic way
Right.
in being the influencers
Hmm.
for the squiggly lines.
Yeah. We see
We're
that it's needed.
we see that it's needed, and yeah, and we're here really to help influence and help get dealers get really clear about some of those things,
Sure.
and help the image
Hmm.
in a whole of
Sure.
buy here, pay here
Right.
to shift into something that, oh, these people really do care
Hmm.
about their customers, about their community, about their employees. And imagine, if you would, as more and more dealers shift into communicating that,
Hmm.
how that shifts really
Right.
the perception as the industry in a whole,
Right.
and how that shifts the conversation with organizations like the CFPB,
Yep.
all of that.
I don't know how many White Hat Wednesdays you're going to have to listen to where you can see that Jim and Michelle truly care
This
about
is
the
where we're
success of the
going.
buy here, pay here dealer. And we
Yep.
also care about the success and the experience of the buy here, pay here consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I say, however many episodes you need to listen
Yeah,
to, you can see
exactly.
that that's what we're all about.
Exactly. And I know we've taken a little bit more time today. And so, basically, as we wrap up, what does this mean? What does this mean to you? What does this mean for us? We're stepping forward. It's like there are a lot of really great consultants and coaches that will help you really dial in all of those straight lines.
Mhm.
All of the, it's like, how should we do this? How should we do that? They really are. I mean, we've got a long list of people that we really, without hesitation, would say, this is a good person for you to go talk to about this. This is a good person for you to go talk to about this. This is,
Right.
that we are stepping forward with, we're going to help dealers with the squiggly lines.
Mhm.
We can help with the straight lines. And so if you need us to come in and help with the straight lines so that you can get the squiggly lines all in order,
Sure.
you can get that heart piece and like really start to broadcast that heart piece. We're your people, and we would love to see more and more coaches step into that space as well.
Yeah.
And more the merrier,
Yeah.
honestly, because this is our intent is to be an influencer on this industry.
Sure.
And an industry influencer for good.
Right.
And so we are going to be stepping forward with
Yep.
squiggly lines. If there's something that you need help with on the squiggly lines, we'll be posting also our Calendly link to do an exploratory call and see if there's something that we can help you with. If you need some straight lines and squiggly lines, call us too, because I love systems and processes.
She does.
You know that. And then also know that Jim talked about our Texas address, where it was, how it's like a business plan. And we went real squiggly lines with Texas. And we've been asked to speak at FIADA the second, third, or actually, I think that we're speaking on the third or the fourth.
I actually can't remember.
And we're going to be giving the basically the same presentation. And so if you would like the opportunity to see it, reach out to FIADA. I think it's FIADA.com.
Sure.
And you can get registered. You don't have to live in Florida to come. But come and listen, and we welcome you to do that. We and just know that that's where we're moving forward, and that's what that's really who you're going to see us step forward as far as what we're doing in our coaching.
Yeah, we're already doing it. We're just telling you that we're doing it.
And we're coming out like
Right.
unapologetically, guys.
Right. Yeah.
We've been kind of doing it in the background, but it's like, this is who we are. This is what we're doing.
This is where the industry could use our help.
This is where the industry could use our help.
Yeah.
We're so grateful that you guys are all listening. Looking forward to a great Wednesday as we kind of ramp up for Fridays and paydays and all of that kind of stuff. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Tommy, yeah, I know you're here. We are also doing a live event with Mr. Tommy Brandis in Quakertown, Pennsylvania.
Town Hall,
Buy Here, Pay Here Regional Town Hall.
Yep.
It will be the pilot, hopefully for many more to come.
Looks like 7 live broadcasts, top of every hour.
On that day.
Yeah. So
we will be broadcasting live. So those of you who enjoy listening to the podcast, you're not just going to have to listen to us blather all day, but we will be starting the entire event with our White Hat Wednesday morning show, and then moving into multiple sections, and there's going to be some dealer panels and some
great stuff.
Some really great stuff. So hopefully you've already circled that day. If you can, tune in during the day and see some of the things that we're going to be doing. So that is on October 19th.
And before we close out, I want to ask Brett Buick. I will reach out to Brett privately as well. If you haven't closed that fundraiser, please don't. Give it a few more days, and let's leave it open.
Yep.
All
right. Have a great Wednesday, and we will see you on Friday.